Okay. I'm doing the thing that all my friends hate where I hold the little wireless mic. Oh, they'll have to suck it up and deal with it. Hail, fellow travelers. Tim from Secret Fire Books here. I'm outside for a change, mainly because I just wanted to try something new, and it's a beautiful day out. And I am praying to God that my allergy medication holds up. Hopefully, it does its job, and I don't start sniffling and coughing and sneezing in the middle of this recording. But this is my monthly reading report for the month of April 2025. I'm going to talk about everything that I read this month, the things that I'm reading right now, and the things that I will be reading in the near future. So first, let's talk about the things that I read. The first book that I read in April was Death Angel's Shadow by Carl Edward Wagner. This was a collection of sword and sorcery / dark fantasy stories written by Carl Edward Wagner. They collect three of his stories featuring the character Cain the Mystic Swordsman, this sort of wandering, mysterious anti-hero character. And I really like this book. I liked it a lot. I'm glad I read it. I'm glad that it lived up to the hype for the most part. The only thing that I didn't like about this book, which I mentioned in my review, was that the dialogue is just awful. Carl Edward Wagner could not write dialogue to save his life. A lot of modernisms and anachronisms, a lot of modern slang and such, where it shouldn't be. It was this, kind of pseudo medieval, pseudo mythic era sword and sorcery story, and modern slang just did not belong in the characters' vocabularies. But it is what it is. I don't think it detracted too much from the overall experience. I really did like the three stories that were collected in it, and I'm looking forward to reading more Carl Edward Wagner in the future as well. The next book I read, which I also did a review for here on the channel. Oh, here comes Apollo. Appa, you want to say hi? Want to say hi to the people? Yeah, maybe. Hi, bud. Hi, bud. Oh, he's a good boy. Yes, he is. The second book that I read this month was Starfighters by Robert E. Mills. This was a horrible Star Wars ripoff novel, the second in a trilogy. I did not read the first book, but Ira from SF Words of Wonder sent this to me as kind of a joke, but I told him that I would read and review it. And it was actually a lot of fun. As terrible as the book was, it had one of those so bad it's good qualities to it, and I was actually having a blast reading that awful book. So I'd highly recommend it if you have the patience to read through a 200-page novel just for a few laughs. Then I read the next book for the Elusive Exclusive Book Society, and that was Burial Rites by Michael Scott. Michael Scott is actually the name of two different authors. I can't think of their names at the moment, but they worked together. They collaborated under the pen name Michael Scott, and this was an interesting novel. It is kind of like a supernatural slasher horror featuring Vikings and Norse mythology, and I really enjoyed it. It was weird. I was the odd one out this time around. I was the only one who really didn't dislike this book. I had a great time with it. I will say that this book has a lot of problems. It is very slow paced. It takes forever for things to get going. There are way too many characters. None of them are very interesting. But at around the halfway point, I think it really kicks it into high gear, and you get a lot of kind of pagan mysticism and references to Germanic mythology, and I love that kind of stuff. So I was really into it. I was having a blast with that book. And unfortunately, I think that your enjoyment of that book will be based purely on how much you know about Norse mythology going in. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it's not for everyone. It was for me, though. I enjoyed Burial Rites quite a bit, and I apologize to my fellow Ebes members who didn't. I'm sorry that you didn't have the knowledge to enjoy that book. Then I got back on the Redwall train, reading two Redwall novels this month. I read Book 4, Mariel of Redwall, and Book 5, Salamandastron. And I have yet to make reviews about this. I'll get into detail when I make those reviews. But let's just say one of them I really, really enjoyed, and the other, I'm kind of sorry I picked it up. Oh my gosh, is there actually thunder rumbling? It's about to rain. This might have been a horrible idea. You hear that? That rainstorm came out of nowhere. All right, guess we're doing the rest of this inside. We got thunder, we got lightning, we got rain. The neighbors' dogs are going crazy over there. Man, someone did not want me to make a video today. I also read 2 more short stories by Edgar Allan Poe. I reread The Black Cat, which is an awesome horror story. I think it's a little derivative of The Telltale Heart, either that or The Telltale Heart is derivative of it. I'm not sure in which order he wrote those, but it's a pretty good story. It's surprisingly gruesome and violent, which I thought was really interesting. Every time the really horrific, dark moments crop up, I was kind of taken aback. I was like, oh man, that was written in the 1800s. That's brutal. But I enjoyed it for the most part. And I also read a story that I'd never read before. I read Silence, a Fable. That's not a Poe story that I read before. And I guess you could call it a prose poem. It has this very kind of strange musicality to it. It's told in verses almost. And it has some paragraphs that are almost like poetic couplets, which was kind of strange. But I really enjoyed it. I can't say that I know exactly what was happening in that story. It's very surreal, very weird. It actually reminded me... of some H.P. Lovecraft stories, some of his Dream Cycle stories, particularly Nyarlathotep. I can never say his name right the first time around. But yeah, I suspect that Nyarlathotep and some of Lovecraft's other Dream Cycle stories might have taken some inspiration from Silence, a Fable, because it was some really cool eldritch horror stuff. I really liked it a lot. All right, as to what I'm currently reading, I am about halfway through The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler, and I am really enjoying it. If you would have asked me about a year or two ago if I would ever enjoy a hard-boiled crime fiction novel, I would have said that you were lying, but I'm actually really enjoying this. It's not my genre typically, but this is written very, very well. Raymond Chandler has a really good writer's voice, author's voice, I guess you say. I don't know if I'll do a review of this. I mean, what's more to say about The Big Sleep? It's an incredibly famous novel. It had, I believe, 2 different famous film adaptations. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll review it, but so far I'm really, really enjoying it. I might mention it at some point and talk about it in detail, but I don't know if I'm going to dedicate an entire video to it. But good stuff so far. I'm definitely enjoying The Big Sleep. After I finish that, I'm going to get into our next book for the Elusive Exclusive Book Society. This was my pick, and it is The Dancer from Atlantis by Paul Anderson. I know pretty much nothing about this book. I think it involves time travel of some kind. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. That's going to be, the live stream will be happening on May 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be joined by Literary Books and Dramaticus Books. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's happening here on my channel. You guys don't want to miss that. After that, I decided to read some more horror. And so I picked up this nice little compact hardcover edition of I Am Legend and Other Stories by Richard Matheson. I've heard a lot of good things about Richard Matheson. I've heard... whenever anyone talks about Richard Matheson, they never say anything bad about his writing. And I Am Legend is a short little novella that I have yet to get to. It's a very famous classic horror novella that I have neglected for a long time. But no longer. I will be reading this soon, and I can't wait to check it out. Next, I'll be reading a Sword and Planet novel. If you watched my last video, you know that I did this thing where I chose my next Sword and Planet read at random. The Sword and Planet genre is something that I'm really interested in. It's very formulaic, but it's the kind of fiction that I'm really into. And so I picked one at random out of my collection and made a whole video about that process. And I landed on Eric John Stark, Outlaw of Mars by Lee Brackett, and I've heard a lot of good things about this one as well. People sing Lee Brackett's praises all the time. She's a very competent writer from what I hear. She was one of the original screenwriters for The Empire Strikes Back, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't think they actually use much of her script, but she did work on the movie, so some of her influence is there in some way. So yeah, I'm going to check out this sometime soon, and hopefully that'll get me on the Lee Brackett bandwagon, and I'll check out some of her other novels in the future. And then lastly, I'll be dipping back into Redwall with Book 6, Martin the Warrior. I remember reading this one as a kid and really liking it. I also remember it being kind of dark and depressing, but we'll see. Anyway, that's everything I read in the month of April and everything I plan to read this May. Let me know in the comments, guys, have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? And until next time, as always, farewell and keep reading. Oh my gosh, those dogs are going nuts. What you looking at? Who's that handsome boy? Are you the handsome boy? Palo. What's out there? I know. I know. You wanted to go outside. Oh, I said the word. Oh.